In this exercise, we are going to have independent cases. In each case, we want to find the approach for assigning the probability and the probability. Okay, let me remind you that we have three approaches for assigning the probability. It's either empirical based on previous trials, or it's subjective based on personal experience or information, or it's classical based on equally likely outcomes. Let's see the first case. The nationalities of 20 international students are as follows. You have 10 British, 5 Americans, 2 Lebanese, and 3 Japanese. I want to find the probability of selecting an American. So, what is the probability to select an American? As you can see from the given, you have 5 Americans out of the total number of international students, which is 20. Then it's 5 over 20. Which is 0.25. Now I want to specify the approach for assigning the probability. Which approach did I use to find this probability? Definitely it's not subjective, it's not based on personal experience. Definitely it's not classical, because the probability for the British is not equal to the probability of the American. The probability of the British, it's 10 over 20. So it's not equally likely outcomes. So what is the approach? It's empirical. It's empirical approach because it's based on previous trials. Okay, let's see the second case. What is the probability that people will be able to use flying cars in the next 2 years? Since we don't have numbers to study or to find the probability, what is the probability that we will be using flying cars? It's any probability, because we don't have definite numbers or we don't have fixed numbers. So it's any probability between 0 and 1. Why between 0 and 1? Because the probability cannot be less than 0 and cannot be greater than 1. Now, specify the approach for assigning the probability. It's based on the personal experience and information. It depends on your personal experience or information. So it's subjective because it's based on personal experience or information. Okay. As for the third case, if you are solving an MCQ question, it's a multiple choice question. As usual, the multiple choice question has 4 possible answers. It's either A, B, C, or D. Okay, so what is the probability for picking an answer A? Probability to get an A as an answer, it's 1 out of 4. If you want to find, let's say, the probability for picking a B, you will again get 1 over 4. The same applies to if you pick up C. It's also 1 over 4. So as we can see, they are equally likely outcomes. The same applies to D. It's also 1 over 4. Equally likely outcomes. Then what is the approach? It's not empirical. It's not subjective. It's based on equally likely outcomes. Then it's classical approach because it's based on equally likely outcomes.